I've got a young daughter. The world may not be a very nice place for her and her generation is clearly something that kind of worries me a great deal. I'm Coull. I'm the founder of Sky Renewables, which is a solar rooftop energy business. I'm British, but I've lived in Singapore since 2018 with my wife and daughter. In terms of hobbies, I was once a keen sports person, but I think my daughter is now my main hobby, and I get up very early with her and play with her and go to the pool with her. So any free time tends to be spent with my almost one-year-old daughter. So Sky Renewables is a rooftop solar developer. So in other words, we work with corporations mostly, but also other clients, and we install and pay for and finance solar panels and inverters and a solar system on the roof of their premises. It costs them nothing, and we then sell them the power on a long-term contract. Getting into the renewable space as a developer was the thing that I wanted to focus on. A few reasons for that. The first is that I think from a sort of commercial perspective, the world needs to go through this big energy transition, but also in Asia in particular, from a big utility generation basis to people doing it captive on their own site. So I saw a very exciting market opportunity there. And from a personal perspective, as I mentioned, I've got a young daughter. I wanted to do my bit for the environment. The idea that in 30, 40 years time, when I'm an old man and she's, still in the throes of life, the idea that the world may not be a very nice place for her and her generation is clearly something that kind of worries me a great deal. So even though what we're doing at Sky Renewables may only be a fraction of the global challenge, hopefully she'll be grateful for that in a few years' time. So I think that's definitely a big part of it for me as well. I wouldn't say that there's a single moment that I'm most proud of, but every now and again I reflect on the team that we've got, and it amazes me how we've done that. My team and I have over the last 8-9 months gone from a random idea to an office in Kuala Lumpur, an office in Singapore, an office in Manila, and office in Ho Chi Minh, and it's filled with amazing people. And as we all know, look, all you've really got in a company is people. And if you want to grow the business, you've got to have great people and you've got to have a great working dynamic. So I guess I'm very, very proud of that. And I think it puts us in a very good position for the future. In my case, look, I've gone from having the opportunity to have a nice salaried life with another organization to undertaking the entrepreneurial journey where you earn effectively nothing unless your company does. So there's a big risk and lifestyle perspective in that way. You also, end up working a very different sort of lifestyle in the sense that you struggle to turn it off. You're always thinking, well, what can I do and how can I get to that next thing, etc. So it's quite all consuming. I know that there's a mental health aspect to what you're doing in terms of this whole profile. I think it's very important to have a good team around you, a good family around you, if you're lucky enough to have that allows you to try and switch off sometimes and to create that headspace that isn't full 24/7 thinking about your business, which is a big part of your life. Work very hard, be very focused, but try to create some space and have other things in your life as well. I think the toughest point that we've come so far was making the commitment to open in multiple locations much earlier in our journey than we planned. And then the toughest part of that was finding the people that I wanted to work with in those countries. I'm glad that I found some great partners, and I'm thrilled that they are my partners, my co-shareholders, and my colleagues. But I think that was probably the toughest thing to execute that we've come across so far. I think the advice is don't wait. I think that it's very, very easy to find reasons to not do what you might want to do today. So for example, I delayed my plans for Sky Renewables because of COVID. I thought, okay, well, in 2020, I had a plan. I wanted to go and do this business. Then COVID happened, and obviously the world was thrown up in the air and no one knew what was going on. Everyone's going to tell you, oh, well, maybe not now because of this thing here. But ultimately, if you want to do it, give it a go and find a way forward, because ultimately the timing's never going to be perfect. There's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be reasons not to do it. Until you have a go, you won't really know if it can be what you want it to be. And if it's not, then you pivot or you try something new or you go back to your day job. But, have a go now because, why wait?